Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
Strap yourselves in for the Gaming Hub. With your hosts, Tyler.
You can't handle the truth!
Graham.
The force is strong in this way.
And Steven.
You cannot be serious!
Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Gaming Hub. This is episode number 148. I'm your host Tyler, saying thank you so much for joining us, and I'm here as always with our two co-hosts. Let's start with Graham. Graham, how are you?
I'm doing quite well. The weather is warmed up, so no excuses to go outside, but I didn't go outside. Well, sometimes I went outside, obviously, but I did stay in. It was a long weekend, so it did give me some extra time to actually play video games, but instead I was watching the Hobbit series, so I had some extra time to watch that. And I also did play some games. I played some Diablo 3. That game is a lot of fun. Actually got a couple characters going on. There's one where I'm going back through the missions or the game, so you can get the legendary weapons and all that stuff. And I've still been playing Tetris 99, which the game that's been free on the Nintendo Switch. Really enjoying that game. And I've also got into a little bit of Crackdown 3 and Anthem, and I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about that. But yeah, so that's basically what my week has been wrapped into a nice little shell.
All right.
Steven, you've been playing some games this week, huh?
Well, let's say hi to Steven. First, Graham, if you had time to watch the Hobbit trilogy, you really had some extra time.
That is true.
Not just because
All
of length,
extended
but
edition.
to watch that hot pile of garbage as well.
Ooh, shots fired.
Come on.
Yeah.
It wasn't nearly as good as the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
No. Well, look how small that book is, and they just
Yes.
squeezed every little bit out of it to
And
make
then
it
some,
into a
yeah.
trilogy, and then some,
Yeah.
for sure. There was definitely no need for extended editions. Like
No.
they could have just they
was
could
no
have
need
like
for
a
3 movies.
minimal edition or something. No,
That
no,
should
you're
have been a 2-movie thing. But
Yeah.
There
anyway,
was.
Steven's also on the show.
I am. Hello. Hello. There actually was a minimalist version. Someone compiled stuff and it made like a 80-minute long movie on YouTube. I think it was. I don't know if it's still there, but I know there was someone that did do that where they cut like everything out of the Hobbit movies and made it to like more like the book. And so it was super short. I don't know if it's still up. I don't know where you can find it, but that was the thing. I had played some games, I guess. Yeah, today I played some Anthem, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And last weekend, I decided to play Crackdown. Crackdown 3 on, I think, both Friday and... I don't know if it actually did go into... It didn't go into Saturday. It was only on Friday, and I got all the way to the final boss in one sitting. And then she was kind of hard. Well, not one sitting, but in one day. And she was kind of difficult. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm done. And I don't think I'm going to go back and finish it. I might, maybe, but...
We're going to talk about that later, right?
Yeah.
But I was going to ask, if you played Friday and Saturday, did you play through it 3 times?
Yeah, I mean,
But now
I had
we'll
fun
get
when I
into
played
it. Go ahead.
until, yeah. Well, I was we'll talk about it more later, but I mean, I did have fun for a little bit, but it was not, it didn't keep me.
Yeah.
I knew as soon as I put it down, I would never pick it back up again, which is kind of why I tried to rush to the final boss. Because I knew I had 3 left when I joined with you on Friday to talk with you last week, and then I was like, okay, let's just get through these, and then I got to the final boss, and I was like, this is kind of hard, not really fun. All right, bye. But,
Yeah, I hear you. As for me, my week's been pretty good. We're getting more snow. It never ends. Graham saw a picture of the snow we're getting here today.
I did.
He saw the very top of a Tim Hortons building behind it. But it's been a little crazy. It's been almost nonstop snow here, and we got more coming tomorrow, so that's amazing. But now I also played Crackdown 3. Not as much as Steven, but I did play it. Played Anthem. I've actually played more Anthem than Steven has, and Graham. And I played some MLB The Show and Kingdom Hearts, which haven't quite finished yet. I need to finish it. I'm like you said, Steven, I'm so close to being done with it. I just need to do it. But that's been my week. And so we're got some good gaming in, and looking forward to talking about Crackdown tonight and Anthem as well. The two of the bigger releases here over the last week. So, anyway, Steven, take us away.
All right, yeah, just a reminder, we're the official podcast of the Xbox Hub. Head on over to thexboxhub.com for all the latest, greatest, and news, reviews, and everything else in between in the world of Xbox. We'd love to have you come join our community and participate in all the awesome discussion we have going on. Probably the easiest way to do that is head on over to Twitch at TXH Gaming Hub, and from there you can find links to Discord, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all that, or Twitter. It'd be kind of funny if it went back to Twitch. But while you're there at Twitch, you could drop a follow. We always appreciate those. If you don't like Twitch, though, you can go to Facebook at the Gaming Hub forums and participate that way, and also get links to everything else. And we'd love to have you come join Facebook or Discord, as there's a lot of really fun topics that get talked about all the time. We just added a meme channel. I don't know. Some people hate memes. I kind of find them funny. So if you like that, or you like just talk about games or just random things, I mean, we had topics on the most interesting subject known to man this past week, and that would be mathematics. And that was really awesome, and it made me so happy as the math guy of the show. But no, I don't want to make it sound boring, because we'd love to have you come join. Not everyone is into math. I get it.
Not sure how you make math sound boring.
There is a lot of video game topics going on, and you can find groups. We have a lot of people joining together to play games. You might be able to find an Anthem Fire Team nope, that's Destiny, but whatever they call it, squad in Anthem. You can get one of those if you're looking for people to play with across all systems, not just Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. It's not on Switch because can't be on the Switch.
There might be some things on Switch soon, though. We're gonna get to that.
Foreshadowing.
True.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun. Yeah, exactly, Graham. Frankly, Graham. Also, we have Instagram and email, thegaminghubpodcast@gmail.com. We have YouTube at the Gaming Hub Podcast. My videos of me eating really hot beef jerky are still up. I have more videos in store. It's just I got sick and I haven't had a chance to make them yet, but it'll happen. It'll happen soon. And finally, you can go follow us on Twitter if you still use that thing, and you can go TXH Gaming Hub and see all the stuff we tweet out and all the fun stuff we retweet and all that.
All right, and if you'd like to support the show, we'd really appreciate that. A couple of different ways to do it. One, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get a free Twitch Prime sub to use every single month, and you can head on over to our Twitch channel, TXH Gaming Hub, and use that Twitch Prime sub right there. We really appreciate that, and it helps us grow the show. Do a lot of different things, some cool giveaways, and plan on going to, conventions, including E3, which we're trying to go to this year, and provide some awesome content for you. Another way to do that is we have a Patreon page. Head over to patreon.com/gaminghub, and when you're there, for as little as $2 a month, you get bonus content, which includes bonus episodes, mailbag episodes, things like that. We do some trivia. We'll be doing another one here shortly. Kind of got away from that because of the whole me moving thing. Just didn't have time. Apologies for that. But for as little as $5 a month, you get all of that plus access or entry into a giveaway every month just for patrons at the $5 and up level for $60 in gift cards to the system of your choice. And we're actually doing that tonight at the end of the show for the month of February. So, yeah. And I do want to call it real quick before I send it over to Graham. Special thank you to Carlos and Patrick. Both signed up as patrons this week at the $15 and $10 levels, respectively. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it more than you know, honestly. And it helps us accomplish all the things that we want to do for the community and the show. So
yes,
thank you for that. Graham.
Yes, and besides watching us on Twitch, which we are streaming right now, you can also listen to our podcast on various platforms. You can use your smartphone or smart device and go to the store and download whatever you choose to listen to podcasts on. And I got a couple other suggestions that you guys can check out or switch to. Is up to you guys. It's free, so I'm not asking you to pay for apps. And one of these apps is Radio Public. Now, this app is basically an app like everything else you're used to, but we get a little bit of a kickback for every time somebody listens to it. It's not very much, but it all helps. And like I said, it doesn't cost you guys anything. So this is a way, if you guys like can't afford to sign up for like Patreon or Twitch Prime or something like that, this is a way you can contribute. And another way you can listen to us is through a streaming app, which is called Dash Radio. So it's kind of like a satellite radio thing, but it's like on your mobile device. Actually, they even have a contract with some newer Chevys. But basically, it's an app where it streams podcasts, and there is some music channels on it as well. But if you're looking to listen to our gaming podcast and other ones, you would look up for the multiplayer channel. And with our podcast, there will be other gaming ones on that one streaming in a continuous rotation. And if you like what you guys are hearing on whichever platform you choose, we'd very much appreciate if you could write us a review, give us some comments, give us a 5-star rating, and just let us know what you like about it, and tell your friends about it. And more people, better community, better the prizes, and we can grow, and we can all be one happy community together. Thank you.
All right. All right.
love the thanks there at the end.
Yeah, the thank you was great. So if you write a review, get a chance to hear it read on the show. So we do read all comments and feedback that we get. Ask our Discord community. We're all pretty active there. And we read all the comments, all the emails, all the stuff, and try as hard as we can to reply to every single one as well. So our way of kind of acknowledging that with reviews is to read them on the show when you give us a 5-star review. So
Yeah, only then, though.
yeah, none of the 1 stars.
We don't do that.
No. All right. There's been some news this week, guys, and let's get into that now.
In the news.
And let's start with something I think is sad. I mean, I'm happy for him, but I'm sad. And that's the news that came out just today that Reggie Fils-Aime is retiring. That'll take place in April. And Doug Bowser is taking over as the head of Nintendo of America.
Is that after he got his name changed?
April. Yeah, that is pretty amazing. So, but honestly, before I turn it over to you guys, just for your thoughts, for Reggie, what an awesome ambassador for gaming, and not just in the United States, but everywhere. And he is a class act through and through. Always has been. And Graham, I'll admit I'm a little hard on Nintendo sometimes on the show, but yes. Reggie's someone that commands and deserves everyone's respect just for the type of person that he is every time he puts himself out in public. And I wish him the best, and I wish him a happy retirement. And I'm sure he did okay financially, so he'll be able to enjoy some stuff in his retirement. And I hope he gets to do that. So, you guys' thoughts?
Yes,
Yeah.
Sad day. I'll go first because I'll save the best for last because Graham is Graham
best.
loves it. He did a great job. There was some misses in there, but like overall, I think phenomenal. And he ended for sure on a high note with the amazing product that came out in the Nintendo Switch, and then all the great games that have come out since. So I think that might be why the Wii U was a little bit low, and so he brought it back with the Switch, made an amazing product. And yeah, it's sad to see him leave. He seemed like a really awesome dude every time he'd show up on the screen, and we're gonna miss him. Hopefully Doug Bowser can fill his shoes. Though if the name's anything to suggest, I think we're in pretty good hands. Yeah. There's jokes in there somewhere. Bam.
Oh, there's definitely many jokes around and memes like you were talking about earlier. But yeah, like you can say he was literally born into it with the last name being Bowser. But yeah, with the passing of the torch of Reggie passing it on to him coming in April, it's always a good thing to see someone else like getting the chance to take the reins. And like I said, Reggie has done so much, and he deserves a nice retirement. And like, not to be lost on words with him, like he said, he's leveling up in life, like, with having extra time now to spend with his wife and his kids. So he's always thinking like gaming and stuff like that. He was always known as a gamer. Like, he wasn't like a hardcore gamer, but it was a thing that he always held near and dear. And like, you could see him at conventions, and he'd have his like 3DS with him and stuff like that. So now I'm sure he's upgraded to having a Nintendo Switch with him. So yeah, no, he did a lot for the company, and I wish him the best as well. And I'm sure he's going to enjoy his retirement and get to spend time with his family. It's always nice. Like, he put in 15 solid years, so he's seen Nintendo through the ups and some downs. And like Steven said earlier, he's leaving on a high note with the success of the Nintendo Switch. So it's always nice too for Doug Bowser. Like, at least it's not like hockey teams. Like, I'm not going to go into any specifics, but where a team does terrible and they basically fire the head coach, and then they bring in another coach is like, all right, you got this trash fire to deal with. So with Doug Bowser, he's actually being brought into a nice, comfortable spot where it's on a high. So it's not like he's got to do damage control. So yeah, I wish him all the best, and I can't wait to see what they have on offer. And it seems like it might be a big year for Nintendo, which we will talk about later. Even more foreshadowing. Yeah. So yeah, this is the Foreshadow podcast. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations to him on a great career. And like I said, all the best in retirement to him. All right. So a new game came out this week, guys, or it's actually coming out tomorrow.
Yes.
Even though it was released on EA Access a week ago and on, EA Premium or whatever it's called for PC. So that's Anthem. And guys, we got a chance to play it, and the reviews are coming out today. The reviews are not great. I think IGN gave it a 6.5 out of 10. Metacritic seems to have the scores in the 60s and maybe 70, maybe in the 70s for the game.
Yeah, GameSpot gave it a 6 too. That came out like right before it went live.
Mm-hmm. So, guys, we all got a chance to play it.
Yes.
And I'm just going to say, I think they're being a little hard on it. I can see the criticisms. I can see where people have frustrations with the game. But all in all, like, the gameplay I have a lot of fun with. Flying around is really fun. And the combat I quite enjoy. So, guys, tell me what you think about Anthem so far, and what you like, what you don't like, what you like to see different.
Well, so I'll go first. I have enjoyed the gameplay. I think I picked Storm as the first. You get to pick one suit, right, when you first start out, and I think we all picked different suits for just to get some variety in, and I think I chose the best one because I'm out there feeling like freaking Thor. Okay, like freezing. Well, I mean, it doesn't really freeze people, but I can freeze people, and then I couldn't call down like bolts of lightning, right? Bohemian Rhapsody style.
I was just thinking that.
And it's awesome. It's fun. I call it the Wombo combo. How many times did I say Wombo combo today?
The answer is too many.
No, there's no such thing. But no, I really have enjoyed the gameplay. I mean, I don't know if it'll get tedious. It might, but shoot, if the loot drops are good enough, it won't matter because Diablo. Like, you do the same thing in Diablo 3, and I put, hundreds of hours into that game and had so much fun. So, I don't know. I haven't read any of the reviews. I just saw the scores. I kind of want to, like, let the game speak for itself. I can see the story being not so good, or just not really anything to care about. The thing I worry the most, though, is the endgame stuff. If the endgame stuff is boring, that's going to be frustrating. And I have a feeling it might be. So I am worried about it. But right now the gameplay is fun, and that's enough to keep me a little bit.
Yeah, and the end game's always an issue with any game like this, yes. Destiny, Division, whatever it is. So the end game's always sort of a thing. But Graham, what are your impressions? Like, you generally don't love games like this.
Yes. And
so what are your impressions?
So when we first started playing it, I'm like, ugh, this is going to be like a whole Destiny thing, and I'm probably going to get tired of this real soon. But after just playing it just a short period of time, my mind was changed on it, and I was having fun. I was enjoying it. I didn't really see any issues at the time. Like, some of the loading screens were long, but it wasn't always a really long one. Some of them, like, there was times when we went into a cave, we're like, oh, great, here's a loading screen forever. But it was actually quite quick. So I know there was a lot of complaints in that with the demo. So I think they did fix it a little bit, which is good to see. The gameplay was great. The flying seemed all right. Like, I crashed, but that was my own fault. But it seems like it's a good game. Now, when we talk about the reviews and that the low score they're getting, like if I had to score it right now, I would not score it that low. So when I see a number like that, it makes me think, okay, it must get like stale really quick or something. Because there's nothing like stood out. It's like, all right, I gotta like take away, like that's not good, that's bad, and just bring the score down. So I don't know if it's the end game or just lack of things to do later, but right now it's new and it's exciting, and I really have no issues. So I'm surprised it got this low of score, and then it kind of got me worried about in the long run it's not going to stand up.
Yeah, so I'll agree on the loading screens. There's, they're too long in a lot of cases, and, that does take away from the experience a little bit. Is it enough to ruin the actual gameplay and the core experience for me? No. Fort Tarsus, I've heard, is, can be really tedious and just take forever and be kind of boring. I can't say I've spent enough time there yet. I put in probably 4 hours, 5 hours into the game. But I haven't spent enough time there yet to really say one way or the other. However, what I have spent there so far, it hasn't been that bad. It's not, like, exhilarating, but it hasn't been that bad. And it's pretty easy to get back into, a mission or whatever pretty quickly whenever you want to. I'm Steven, do you think there's some sort of... Do you think EA is facing an uphill battle with almost any game they put out just because kind of the perception about EA in general and, the fact that it's kind of the popular thing to, bash on EA a little bit and hold them to a standard that we don't hold other people?
Yeah, I think part of that. I think, though, like, BioWare, what would have gotten a pass until the dumpster fire that is Andromeda came out. And I think the fact that they put their B team on a Mass Effect game really wrinkled people's noses, or whatever the phrase is. Like, it made people mad.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard that one before.
Well, I'm coining a new phrase, Graham. Okay. I hear people saying it, a lot of people. But no, I think EA does get some unfair treatment from at least the general public. I don't think they get it from critics, and I don't think that's fair to say that, like, your IGNs or your GameSpots or your whoever you want to talk about is giving them unfair or, like, lessens the review score because of who makes the game.
Agree.
I don't know. Like, I saw some people in chat say something about loading screen and the repetitive gameplay, and that might be the case. Like, we've only played like 2 hours of it today, and you played like 2 hours and a half of it, because you think you're better than us or something. But like, it might get repetitive, and the load screens have been a little annoying, to be sure. But I don't know. Like, right now the gameplay's fun. So
could I see it getting repetitive? Absolutely.
It all depends on the how much the enemies change. Because at least with like Diablo, and I feel like this game's trying to be more like Diablo than like Destiny with the way the difficulty's set up. Because you're supposed to replay missions on harder difficulties to get better loot drops. Right? And that's kind of the way you do in Diablo. You do the challenges at the end game, and you go to the different worlds you already beat once, and you do them, and you fight bosses, or like they're randomly assigned. And that can be fun, but the enemies are different. But we've only faced like scorpions and one other type of enemy, really, maybe two.
Dominion, and then
Scar.
Some of a couple of the heavies, right? But that's.
So if the enemies don't change, then this is going to get repetitive.
Mm-hmm. I find a lot of times the difference between repetitive and not in a game is the story and how invested it can get you into what you're doing. And I do think that's going to be a problem for Anthem, is that I don't think the story is going to be all that good. It'll probably be a little better than the first Destiny because there was really no story there. But I wonder how invested I'm going to be in the story and the characters and whether or not that's going to be enough to keep me from feeling like, oh, we're just doing the same thing over again. I doubt. I bet there's a point at which I'm starting to say, okay, it feels like we're kind of just spinning our wheels a little bit. But for now, early on, I actually feel like it's pretty fun.
Yeah, and it does seem like it's a really big map too. So like the fact that it's a really big map seems like there might be way more areas and give more variety and not be as like stale or redundant. So I don't know. Trying to be a little optimistic.
Right, and I guess, guys, like, I don't feel like the game is bad enough that it doesn't deserve us saying, let's see what you do with this going forward. Let's see what they add, let's see what, they put into the game, let's see what it looks like a few months from now. We have experienced games that were just so disappointing at launch that we kind of didn't give it a chance later. And maybe we should have, but we didn't. And this one, I feel like it's done enough. It's fun enough that it kind of deserves a chance to show what it can do and what it can become. I don't know, you guys, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree as well.
All right. So, guys, let's transition here and talk about another game that came out. And that's Crackdown 3. A game that we've seen, and heard about for a few years now. Finally releases after, at least one delay, and I think more than that.
Yeah, more than one for sure.
Yeah. So, finally releases. Were you excited to play it?
No.
So, I really wasn't either. I kind of made myself, but Steven, I'm going to go to you here. I think you'll say that, it at least wasn't terrible.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah. Well, some parts.
Okay, so here's what happened. I'll tell you exactly what happened, right? So I wasn't getting Monday off for President's Day, so I took Friday off instead. And so, I had a 3-day weekend, and because I needed it. All right, so I woke up on Friday, lottie-dottie, I have a day off. And I'm like, maybe I'm going to do my math homework right now, and then I can enjoy the rest of the weekend. But then I was, lying in bed, and I was scrolling, and I scrolled YouTube or Twitter, actually, I think. And I saw something from Tim Rogers, who, as anyone who's known recently, one of my favorite Kotaku people. His videos are hilarious to me, and I like him a lot. So he made a video about why, Crackdown was fun, and I watched, 2 minutes of it. I'm like, okay, this looks fun. So, I got downstairs to play the game, and I started playing, and I'm like, all right, let's give this a go, see what it's about. And I was playing it, and I was like, I'm actually having fun with the gameplay. The story was absolute garbage. Don't care at all. But I was having fun with the gameplay. And even if the gameplay is very similar, it never changes, right? It's go here and shoot things. But shooting things is fun in that game. And jumping around is fun in that game. So, that's what I did. And next thing I know, it was, lunchtime, and I'm like, crap, I have to go get lunch. And I have to stop playing this. That sucks. And I came back and I played it and I played it and I played it. And I'm like 4 hours later, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go to something else. And I think I went to the home screen on the Xbox. And then I was like, no, I'm just going to keep playing more. And then finally, I got frustrated, because I had a couple drinks and the final boss. And I was like, I don't feel like doing this right now. And then I had no interest in picking it back up. But in that one day of playing, the game for 6-7 hours, it was fun. It was fun. It wasn't good, but it was fun. And at least it was free. Well, relatively free. $10 a month with Game Pass. So that's cool. But I didn't have any hopes for this game. I never played a Crackdown before. But it was fun jumping around and shooting things, and the guns were actually fun. It the best description, I think Tyler, you can agree with this. The game was trying to be Sunset Overdrive, but failed miserably. And if this game was made by Insomniac, it would have been an 8.
Absolutely. So my impression on the game is this. So I said it to you guys when we were talking. So 2 things. One, I feel like I kind of tripped and fell into a time machine, came out in the year 2011 in a GameStop and bought their new release title, which was Crackdown 3. I feel like this is a game that should have released 8 years ago, just in terms of what it is. This feels like something that doesn't push the envelope in any single way. Not that it has to, but it doesn't even necessarily live up to what modern games do in terms of anything between 2016 and today. It's the AI enemies are just, they're like bullet fodder. They really are. They just stand there kind of. Or when they do move, they move really stupidly. So I found that. The other thing I said, what kind of to your point, I almost feel like, this is what would happen if like the worst developer at Insomniac left the company to start their own studio and made a game. This is what it would be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good description. Like, it's not a good game. It can be fun, but
it
it's not good.
aspires to be an Insomniac type of game. And there's little elements there, like enough to be able to say this is kind of fun. But remember the other question I asked you guys when I was playing it? That, is it possible to be having fun and be bored at the same time? Because that's kind of what playing it was like for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like some of the stuff is fun, yes. And it's like, there's something to be said for games that are just like pure innocent fun, like mindless fun, There's something to be said for that. Not everything has to be a super deep story and really like, character driven and all that type of thing. Doesn't have to be. It can still be fun. But they didn't do enough well to make me say that's good enough here. So Grant, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, like if this game wasn't free, how much would I pay for it? Well, I probably wouldn't pay anything for it. But if I guess I really want to play, maybe $20. That's Canadian too, so it's pretty much free in America. But no, the game was all right. Like, it wasn't a great game. It was okay. It kind of reminded me of Recore, like some of the moving around where you get the double jump and you get the dash forward. I think maybe 2. I didn't get that far where you unlock all this stuff, but it did have some things that I liked about it, about how you would automatically like level up and unlock new abilities. So it's kind of like a dumbed down game where it's not like big trees and you got to pick which where you want to put your points and stuff like that. So like, and I do agree with you, Tyler, about it seems like a game that could almost came out on the 360. Like, it seems like it's been in development that long and they kind of like stuck with that. And it really doesn't push any boundaries. There's nothing really exciting about it. I can see the comparisons too about Sunset Overdrive, where certain like you'd have like retrieve things like way up in the air and stuff like that. But Sunset, like the traversal was way more fun in that game. Like, it's got vehicles which you can get in, and another thing I liked about too is when you unlock something, it's permanently unlocked, which you can like spawn somewhere you can get it. So it did have some great ideas, but nothing to make me want to go back to it. And I know this being a Microsoft exclusive, like they would rather just be more than it is. But in reality, it's really not that exciting, and I don't see it lasting long. It's probably just going to disappear at one point, and people are just going to stop talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, this game did exactly what I needed it to, which was like distract me from literally everything and give me it was like a reset day where I didn't have to think about anything. All I thought about was like Crackdown, and just killing the enemies. And it was great. I felt really rested Saturday when I woke up because I wasn't worried about any of the other crap I have to do, because I literally was just having mind-numbing fun that was like kind of boring, but I didn't want to put it down at the same time. And it was awesome. And honestly, if I didn't have that day off, I don't know if I would have played it that long. And I think it just came out at the perfect time, and that's great. And that's just what happened. And
if you guys had paid $60 for this, would you be saying the same thing right now?
No, I'd be absolutely infuriated. But I never would have paid $60 in the first place for it, so it's that.
Okay.
So I again, take it with. I can't really. Yeah, I don't think it's fair to say that I'd be mad because I never would have done it in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if people
that-
actually would have played it without it being on Game Pass.
That's a good question. I
That's a great question.
I doubt very many. Okay,
Yeah.
they're the super hardcore Xbox fans
Well, I find
Families
that
would have bought this game.
I find the people who like Crackdown 3 the most are the people who really remember and love Crackdown 1.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah, that's
thinking
true
too.
as well. That's true.
Yeah.
You know, because it's kind of that more of the same feel, you know, more of what I like. And there's something to that. But I still feel like you have to drive things forward, drive franchises forward. You know, if Halo 5 had been the exact same as Halo 1, you know, not that there weren't complaints about Halo 5, but if it had been the exact same as Halo 1, we would have been really not happy with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This game would have been more of the game I would have bought for $20 to $30 on sale, while having a couple adult beverages, right? and then I don't know if I would have been mad if I paid $20 for this game. I don't think I would have been mad because I had fun for
not for
however
20.
long I played for it,
Sure.
and I can't complain about that.
Like we've bought new games for probably $60, and we either played it just a little bit or we haven't even played it at all. So
Does it
It's
start with
true.
F and end with
Yeah.
All Out
We don't wanna-
76?
we don't want to go into that one. Yeah.
Because I'm the same way.
So $20 is not that big of a loss, and if you're having a little fun for a little while, then it's okay.
I agree.
So I'll tell you guys, when I was playing Crackdown 3, I started thinking about Xbox exclusives in general, and it kind of gave me this idea to write an article, which will be going up on the Xbox Hub here in the next couple of days, so please head on over there to thexboxhub.com and give it a look. It should be up by Saturday, I would think, but it's on this kind of where we're at right now with Xbox One exclusives in comparison to the competition. Why Xbox One, has a dilemma with exclusives, how we got there, and what some of the potential solutions are.
Yes.
And I thought that would be a good, thing to discuss here
Real
on the
quick.
show. Yeah.
I was trying to get this in before you started that.
Okay.
I meant to do this during intros, but I don't want to wait for because not everyone listens to questions. I don't feel like that's fair to them. I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to Games to Grunts, program of Operation Supply Drop that gives games to members of the military community, both veterans and active duty and retirees, obviously. And this week they had something where they had Gears of War 4 Game Pass for 2 years and Xbox Live Gold for 1 year for free. And so I picked up Game Pass and Xbox Live Gold for free, and I get 2 years of Game Pass and a year of Xbox Live Gold. And I can't believe that was a thing. I'm used to seeing for a month or two, and the fact they gave 2 years and a year respectively was awesome. So huge thanks to them. I know you can get games on there. It's for PC, and you can get some Xbox games, or actually all their Xbox stuff sold out, but you can get PC games on there. So if you're a veteran or active duty member, first of all, thanks, and second of all, check them out. They have games on sale for Steam if you play on the PC. And then thank you to Blake in our community for pointing it out, and Nuka for tagging me. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have seen it right away. Yeah. So appreciate it. Yeah.
One more time, what's it called so people can go look it up?
Games to Grunts.
All right. So, again, if you're an active service member or retired, thank you, and check that out. Probably lots of good stuff there for you. So anyway, like I was saying,
sorry.
We want to talk the Xbox One dilemma with exclusives and how we got there, what the issues really are, and what the potential solutions might be. So, this isn't just going to be me going on here, but I want to have a good discussion about it. And as I started digging in, because on the surface, it's easy on the surface to say Xbox One exclusives aren't good, and PlayStations are much better, and whatever, or Nintendos are much better. And then what you get from people is that very visceral response, the fanboy response of, no, there's no problem, they're fine, they're fun. And that may be true. They might be fun. But do they measure up? And is it good enough to move consoles? Is it good enough to, A, close the gap with PlayStation? If not, and maybe not close the gap, but at least set them up to have a successful launch next gen. As I looked at it and as I broke down the games, the answer to that really is no across the board. Like, the games just aren't that great. And what I did is I really broke down kind of the last 3 years. So when you look at, and Steven, I'll let you go into some of the titles. We were talking about this last night. But I'll just start by saying that, in the last 3 years, between 16, 17, and 18, PlayStation has had 5 games nominated for Game of the Year that were exclusives. Not third parties that they had deals with or anything like that. Just exclusive games that were nominated for Game of the Year, and one of them won it. Nintendo had at least 2. One of them won it. Xbox has had 0. And really, I'm not sure when the last time an Xbox exclusive game was nominated for Game of the Year. I went back all the way to 14, and I can't find one.
Wow.
So, yeah, there's a problem there that we'll get into. And before I turn over to you guys, I just want to say, Sean Layton spoke last week from Sony about how they sort of changed their strategy towards going away from quantity, making less games, but making them bigger in scope, better in gameplay, and more memorable overall. And I think they've been wildly successful at that. Xbox, on the other hand, has sort of, I don't even know if I want to say the quantity over quality, but the quality certainly isn't there. So, guys, whoever wants to go first, let's start talking about actual titles and why we feel like this. Because once you look at the actual games, and I use Metacritic as sort of a guide here, because that accounts for those like weird outlier scores one way or the other, and you still get the average of all reviews. So whoever wants to go first, let's start talking about actual games and what stands out and what the problem is.
Okay, I'll start.
Sure.
Because I'll start by listing both Xbox One exclusives, like a small but most of the big ones from both Xbox and PS4. So Xbox has the Dead Rising games, the Forza games, the Gears of War 4 really is the only mainline Gears game, and then the Ultimate Edition, the remaster, Halo 5 and the MCC, Halo Wars 2, Quantum Break, Rare Replay if you count it, but I don't because it was a collection of games not released on Microsoft consoles, or at least a lot of them weren't. Rise of the Tomb Raider, which was just a timed exclusive, so I don't count that either. So then we have Rise, Son of Rome, Sea of Thieves, State of Decay, 2, Sunset Overdrive, and Titanfall. And then I guess Zoot Tycoon. So there you go. That's your list. For PlayStation 4, and I think, Dead Rising was released eventually on PlayStation, but I know it was exclusive for a time. So again, that doesn't even count. So this is a small list because the list is gigantic. Like it just absolutely dwarfs Xbox list, right? So you have, where was the first one? All right, so you have Bloodborne, okay, PlayStation. It's hard to find. There's so many, all the big ones. You have Detroit Become Human. You have the Dragon Quest XI, which is now coming to the Switch, but I'm still counting it. You have, sorry, it's hard to. You have the God Eater games, another big. God of War. You have Gravity Rush, remastered in Gravity Rush 2. You have Horizon Zero Dawn. You have Infamous. You have the Uncharted games. You have the original Kingdom Hearts, which are still there. You have The Last Guardian, The Last of Us remastered, which is a remaster, so we can not count that. We have Little Big Planet, the MLB games, and you have Neo, Ni no Kuni, Persona 5. You just have a bunch. like, and there's still probably a couple that I missed, okay? Because we haven't even got down into the S's and below. So you have, Shadow of Colossus. So I could continue, right? Like, the point is, just kick the crap out of Xbox this gen. And you have Until Dawn. So there you go. And the Yakuza games. So we'll stop now. But, like, the amount of games I just mentioned, right, that were exclusive to PlayStation, and a couple of them I think might be timed exclusives, especially on the Xbox side. Like I said, Dead Rising, one of them came to...
And Tomb Raider.
And Tomb Raider. And technically, you can get most of Microsoft's first-party games on the PC as well, right? And so, like... But just talking about Metacritic, Tyler, like we said last night, the highest Metacritic game for Xbox, and you can complain about Metacritic being used here, but I think it's a very fair thing to use, is what? Gears of War 4 and Halo 5, we're sitting at what, 84? Right?
That's correct, 84, yep.
And by the way, before anyone jumps down my throat for missing Ori or any of the other, I was just talking retail games, okay?
So you didn't say ReCore either, but we let that go.
Yeah, because it wasn't a retail game. It was a downloadable game. It might have came eventually.
They did get retail releases. But let's talk AAA titles. Because I think smaller titles, good as they can be, there's supplemental games that enhance the experience for people who already have the box.
Yes.
Right? How many small games... Even the $40 games are going to make people say, I'm going out and buying console, X right now.
Yep.
Not many. So I think the point you were getting to is one of the highest, if not the highest, Metacritic score game for the Xbox One is which genre, Graham? Do you remember?
I'm going to guess racing.
It is racing. And it's Forza Horizon 4.
My next guess would have been shooter.
Yeah, it's Forza Horizon 4.
Well, as that covers the entirety of Xbox's library, then you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've said forever, guys, like the dream Xbox game is a game where you drive around with guns on the car and like shoot things while you try to win the race.
It is surprising they didn't try to make like Mad Max the console exclusive, because that is their wet dream.
Right?
Yeah.
So Forza Horizon 4 is a fantastic game. It's a fantastic racing game. But that's the problem. Is two things. One, racing, I'll say it forever. I like racing games. But it's somewhat of a niche genre.
Yeah.
It's not going to move consoles. And if it was, every year Microsoft puts out a Forza game, whether it's Forza proper, Forza Motorsport, 5, 6, 7, or Forza Horizon 2, 3, 4. And if you were going to buy an Xbox One for a Forza game, you would have done it before now.
Yep. And
so, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, you can get a racing game that is serviceable at the very worst, like pretty decent on the PlayStation, right? But like, some people don't like this comparison, but it's a fair one. You can get MLB The Show on the PlayStation, which gives you a full licensed MLB product, and a very good one at that. Because I don't know what last year's was off the top of my head. I think it was like an 87 or an 89 on Metacritic, and years past have been a little bit higher. But you can't
last year's was 88.
You can't get a good licensed MLB product on Xbox. So that kicks its butt right there. For the fact that you can get go ahead.
And let's be honest. When you see a sports game score in the high 80s on Metacritic, that's something. That's impressive. And there's nothing wrong with a high 80 score. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
When you're averaging out all the reviews, because you're always going to get that one that's like, when PlayStation releases an exclusive, you're going to see the top review on Metacritic is going to be like, PS4 fan, superfan.com, and it's going to be like 200 out of 100, and then you're going to have other reviews from other places that score it like, 50. And it's the Metacritic thing is about getting to sort of the aggregate. They're getting, to what the most people sort of think And usually it works. It almost always works and comes out at a score that's pretty representative of what the game actually is. So, but here's the thing. So let's talk about what the most anticipated Xbox One titles have been over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And what have those been?
I don't know.
Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves was hugely anticipated.
Yeah.
Okay, that game scored in the 60s. What else? I can't say Crackdown 3 was one. There was a good level of excitement over State of Decay 2, I guess, kind of.
Yeah.
That didn't score very well. I think that was in the 60s or maybe low 70s. I'm trying to remember all these off the top of my head right now. But there hasn't been a ton. You know, Halo Wars 2, you know, it was okay. It didn't perform all that well, though, critically. So what's out there for Xbox? Because the last things that we're talking about, because people will say, well, but, what about Gears of War 4? Or Halo 5? And the problem is, they keep going back to the well. Their answer is always Gears and Halo.
Yeah.
Every time. And when I say they, I don't mean the fans, I mean Microsoft. Whereas now let's look at PlayStation. Just in the last couple of years, last 2 to 3 years, we've seen Uncharted. We have seen Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
We've seen God of War. We've seen Spider-Man. We've seen Persona 5, right?
Yes.
In that time frame. And I'm sure I'm missing something.
Ni no Kuni too, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's just more RPGs like that. Like you can literally pick a genre and find a better game on PlayStation than you can on Xbox, minus racing.
So somebody just brought up Cuphead, and that's fair because Cuphead does have one of the better Metacritic scores for the Xbox One in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
But here's my challenge: who is going to go spend $300 to $500 on a console to play Cuphead?
Yeah. Not many people. Someone who's got a lot of money to spend at one point.
Again, that's the type of game that's awesome for people that already have it. The console, I mean. You know, it's like, oh, absolutely I'm getting that. That's amazing. But when you're sitting at home and you're trying to decide between, you know, which console to get, and here comes a commercial for God of War or Spider-Man, or both, because, you know, sometimes they do the montage commercials.
Yeah.
And then you get the Xbox montage. Like, which one are you going with?
Yeah. So, for me, because I don't play PlayStation very much at all. Like, I bought it. Basically, we're talking about console sellers, which games, which franchises are console sellers. And for me, PlayStation, God of War is a console seller for me. That is the reason why I bought a PlayStation 3.
It was a console seller for you.
Yes, it was. And
Yeah,
it is the reason why I bought a PS4 Pro, God of War edition, but I bought it just for God of War. So now I'm thinking, okay, in the next generation of systems, which system, because like for Xbox, I got my gamer score, but now it's like, how much does that gamer score actually mean to me now? And basically, it doesn't really mean that much to me now. It's not going to control my enjoyment and stuff like that. So I'm almost willing to go for PlayStation as my main console, because then another thing it comes down to is like graphics. Like people say, well, Xbox has the best graphics. But if you don't have that many great games that are exclusive to that system, and more games that I prefer to play, like God of War, is on the PlayStation system, then I'm kind of leaning towards PlayStation. Like, there's a few things that I don't like about it and stuff like that, but I don't know if that's enough to make me stay true to Microsoft, especially when I can play, like, third-party on both systems, and then PlayStation seems to have more and better exclusives. So there's really nothing that's making me now stay for the Xbox. So it does bring up a really good point. Like, I like to be the optimist, and like we know like Microsoft is coming with these other studios, but we really don't know what's coming there. So
let's talk for a second, because I don't want this just to be a 20-minute let's bash on Xbox thing, because we all love Xbox.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And it's about diagnosing the problem and trying to find solutions. So let's do that. And then I want to get to a question we had from our community that I feel ties into this really, really well, and I think this can be part of this conversation. Excuse me. But so let's talk about ways that Xbox can correct this, because they've acquired all these new studios. They announced 5 new studios at E3 last year, and then they added Obsidian in November officially. So what's it going to take from them to really turn the tide here? Because we haven't seen anything from these studios. We don't know what types of games they're making. We don't know if they're AAA games. They're probably not all going to be. So it's not just enough to say, but we have all these new studios. That's awesome. But what are they making? And can it hold up? Because right now, Xbox desperately needs answers to Uncharted, to God of War. Games like that, they need answers to those games, to Last of Us, really badly. And they don't have them.
Yeah.
Not to mention that when next gen hits, I guarantee we're going to see Death Stranding in the launch window. So, what does Xbox need to do? What do these new studios need to do to respond to it? And do you think Xbox would be well served to take the Sony approach of, okay, we're not going to put out as much, but what we do put out is going to be awesome?
Yeah, but like I'm looking at the list of exclusives between the two, and just by sheer number, PlayStation had more, by a lot. Like just retail, not downloads. So just retail.
Right. We had some cancellations too, though, and that really amplified this issue for Microsoft, where you had games like Fable Legends, which was not a good idea from the beginning. They should have just made Fable 4.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And then you had Scalebound cancel, which a lot of people, including you, Steven, were really excited for.
Yes.
And that would have filled a major gap in Xbox's library. But it's gone. And it might be showing up on Nintendo real soon, according to rumors.
We'll talk about that if that rumor ever does become fully,
Yes.
Yes. So they need to create games, right? And they need to be AAA. I mean, obviously, they need to be AAA.
Consoles don't need games.
Like, okay, so there was an article on Polygon this week, right, about Xbox might be doing a thing where they make games exclusively for Game Pass, either just Game Pass exclusives or just make games that like fit the Game Pass mold. So quick, like 8 to 10 hour campaigns, kind of fun. You play it once, you put it away, and you never think of it again. Yeah, that isn't good enough to me. Like, that'll make me upset. I'll hold that thought for a little bit, but I'll come back to it. Like, I'm looking right at the like a comparison between the two, and I said it earlier. Like, for every genre, I can find sometimes more than like 2 to 3 games for PlayStation where Xbox has like 1 or 0. For instance, RPGs, there are 0 console exclusive JRPGs on the Xbox One, which when the 360 had one of my all-time favorites in Lost Odyssey. So we never got a sequel. They never even thought about giving a sequel. And then, Fable, they didn't bring Fable back, whereas PS4 has, the Uncharted games came back, God of War came back, they're making a sequel to The Last of Us, they made spiritual successors to, like, The Last Guardian, and all of them were spiritual successors, right? And, and then they do new stuff, right? So Detroit Become Human was, like, it wasn't amazingly well received, but it still got in the 80s, which is a B, right? And I don't think Quantum Break even did that well, and that was like the new thing they did, and it was kind of a cool concept. They just didn't succeed. Whereas when PS4 comes up with or Sony comes up with new concepts, they blow it out of the park, right? With like Horizon Zero Dawn, you know, you get to fight robot dinosaurs. Like, that's awesome, you know, in premise, and it actually worked out really well. And then they got the exclusive rights to Bloodborne, right? And FromSoft makes games for both consoles. The Dark Souls series came to everything, and Sekiro is coming to everything. So they had Demon Souls on the PS3 as an exclusive, and now they have Bloodborne as an exclusive. And Bloodborne was a phenomenal game. I know a lot of people love that game. So that's what needs to happen. Like, they need to make new games.
Well, and let's mention something too that I think is important, and Graham, then we'll go to you. But Quantum Break was a really cool concept. It was kind of part of the whole, like, we're going to be all about TV and live stuff and have our own movie studio, and blah, blah, blah. But, like, the concept for the game was really cool, and I did like a lot of things about it. I love Remedy as a developer. Okay? So, Quantum Break's one thing, and then, Steven, like we were talking last night, you know, what did we kind of agree is at least the most fun, if not the best, new IP exclusive that Microsoft's had during the Xbox One generation?
Sunset.
Sunset. So that's another game that isn't going to see a sequel, and that was developed by Insomniac. Now, what's true about both Insomniac and Remedy? They either just finished making an exclusive game for the PS4, or they're currently in development for one. You know, we've seen the acquisition of these new companies. I would love to see a Sunset Overdrive 2. I know the game's a little polarizing. Some people love it, some people don't. But I personally had a ton of fun with it, and I think it's the type of game that Microsoft doesn't normally have. And I think, you know, Spider-Man showed that Insomniac can take things they did well with a game like Sunset and just make them that much better the next time through with Spider-Man. So, you know, we see those issues there. You talked earlier about the Game Pass thing. I agree. It's not enough. That's something that's the type of move that's designed to sell the service, not the console. So how do we get there with this? I think the answer has to be these new companies that they have in the Xbox Studios family. They've got to develop games that are going to, you know, really drive excitement around what Xbox has in their library. We didn't talk about this year how much pressure the coalition has on them to truly deliver something amazing with Gears 5. Because Crackdown 3 is Crackdown 3. It is what it is. Ori's going to be great, but it's not a AAA game. We're going to see Forza Motorsport, 8? That's going to be fine. That's going to leave it to Gears 5 to deliver a great AAA experience. And again, they're going back to the well. I hope they deliver. But there needs to be more, and they need to have something ready for the launch of this console in 2020, or I think they're in trouble.
Yeah, I feel like E3, they have to let the world know exactly what kind of games are coming out from these studios. And if they want people to stick with them or to switch over to them, they do need games. They need games to back it up. Mm-hmm. And they're making the right steps, but like, how much time do they need? Especially if you're making a AAA title, like those demand lots of hours and stuff like that. So unless they're picking up games that were deep into development at the time they acquired these studios, then I don't really see us getting a lot of AAA titles. Now, I think there will be one or two, but this E3, like, everybody's going to be watching, and they could be a disaster if they come out and they just talk about, the future, and like 2 years we're gonna have all these great games, because we're impatient. We go for what's out there right now. So if it comes down to that, then they could lose. But they do have other things up their sleeve, or rumors of things that are up their sleeve. So they might be like, okay, we don't really have the exclusive, so we have to come up with better services or some merging or something that will make us better. So I don't know. Maybe they're doing damage control already, because they're like, we don't have new IPs to get people excited.
Yeah, Graham, I'll say this. I'm totally okay with Microsoft coming out at E3 this year and showing games and just on every one saying coming fall 2020, fall 2020, fall 2020. I'm okay with that. After Gears 5 releases, we're not going to see anything super big from Xbox until Scarlet launches. I really don't think so. And I think they'd be silly to put anything out before then. But what I don't want to see is just more Game Pass for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I don't want that. Like, Game Pass is great. I love it. But it can't be all you go to every time to try to sell your brand.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have more than that. And that's where I think they're going there, because that's what they have right now. It's what they can rely on, and I get it. But they've got to be ready to come out swinging for the fall 2020, and I think that's what is on the line at E3 this year. But real quick, I want to kind of go. We had a question that sort of tied into this, but from Blake, he asked, "What mistakes could Xbox make between now and the new console that would make you switch to the PlayStation 5 for your main console?" And Steven, let's go to you.
Oh, you want me to answer? I thought you were gonna follow up with something else. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, it's not gonna take much. It's close to happening. And so what if Microsoft comes out, especially at this E3, and they announce a bunch of games that look like they're going to be maybe fun, but don't really push the envelope. They're not super AAA. They're like kind of indie titles, and there's nothing wrong with indie titles, but when I pay $60 for a game, I like to get my money's worth, right? So it's why I like RPGs, for instance, or at least 40-hour games, or games that I can replay a bunch of times and have fun. So you have games, the Personas, for instance, the Ni no Kunis, the Tales games. And then you have, Horizon Zero Dawn, which did the same thing, because it's a long game, right? And so if Microsoft comes out this E3 and like shows some of these games that are in development, and they're all kind of short games that are coming to Game Pass, that are designed exclusively for Game Pass, not necessarily exclusives to Game Pass, but just designed in that way, the way that Polygon article like was written, and I am so terrified that might happen, because it makes sense to me, and I'll be frustrated, and I'll get a PS5 over the Xbox, more than likely.
To me, it all comes down to the games. It's all about the games. Like, I firmly believe Xbox is probably going to have the more powerful console at launch this time around, just because that's where we sit right now. So, with the X versus the Pro. So, I don't think that's going to be an issue, but I don't care how good it looks if it's not as good. It's kind of like, you're having a barbecue in your backyard and you're cooking like those really nasty bar-ass hot dogs on the grill. And you've got Old Milwaukee or whatever type of beer you hate. And you look over the fence and, the family over there is grilling steak and having margaritas and tequila. And you're like, man, I wish I was over there. Because that's kind of what it is right now. I just, I hope they can fix this games problem. I think a lot's on the line this year. I know people are expecting this year to be a down E3. I think a lot is on the line for Xbox this year, and I think they know it. I think we're not going to see huge amounts of these new games, because in a lot of cases a year isn't enough time to show a ton. But we should see some vertical slices of these games that show at least what it's about and what we can expect. And I think a lot's on the line. Grandma, how about for you? What your answer to that question?
See, it's tough, because when we start talking about this, I was thinking about it, because for the PlayStation, I don't like the controller. Not a huge fan of their operating system, which that's not really a game breaker. And I know there's ways around it. You can get different controllers and stuff like that. So bottom line, I don't even know, because I know I'm into God of War, that it's basically of all the exclusives, except for Nintendo, God of War is what probably like I'm a huge Fallout fan. Well, I was, and those come on both systems. So nothing really draws me to the Xbox that's an exclusive that I can think of right now. Maybe there is one. It's just not coming to me. So unless they come out with some really good IPs that are like maybe a more of a style of God of War or like something adventurous, not just like a shooter or a racer, because A, I'm not really that good at shooters, and B, I don't enjoy them that much. Maybe there's a connection there. So it is games. It really is, because it's nice having the most powerful system and stuff like that. And another big thing too would be if the new PlayStation comes out with a 4K Blu-ray player, because obviously now I've bought 4K Blu-rays and I'm invested in them. So I'm not just going to like say if the next one, PlayStation 5, doesn't have it and the Xbox whatever has it, well, then that's pretty much going to make me get the Xbox. Even so, then I'll buy maybe the PlayStation 4 next God of War exclusive. So basically, if PlayStation fails by not having it maybe backwards compatible and a Blu-ray disc drive, then I'll stick with the Xbox, unless Xbox has the exclusives. That's probably going to make my decision.
Yeah. And everybody says that we're Xbox fanboys.
I know.
So
I'm starting to reevaluate my life here. Like I thought I was Xbox, but I don't know.
So let's end on a positive note for Xbox, though, because it's not all bad, right? It's, they do have a problem with exclusive games. That's for sure. And again, I'd really appreciate if you take a look at the article once up, probably by Saturday at thexboxhub.com. But let's end with some good news. Rumors started flying today. And I think Game Informer reported it this afternoon that Game Pass might be coming to the Nintendo Switch, where you can actually stream Game Pass games from Xbox onto the Switch and play them there. Graham, you're the resident Switch super fan, so
sure.
I want to go to you first, and then Steven go right after him. But like, what are your thoughts on this? How excited are you, and what do you think the potential is, for something like this?
Okay, so with the potential, it seems more realistic as time goes on. Like when there's a rumor, I don't know if we talked about Scalebound is maybe coming to Nintendo Switch, and that was a Microsoft Studios title and stuff like that. So with this, because we were just talking about what's going to make me stick to Xbox or go to PlayStation, and I knew we were going to talk about this, but I didn't want to bring it up. So 100%, if they're like, okay, your Game Pass games are playable on the Nintendo Switch, and I don't know what else they're going to do, like crossing over and stuff like that. But that ultimately would make me stick with it, because I'm a huge Nintendo fan. I have a Nintendo Switch. I have the Xbox. If they interact with each other, that will make me want to stay there. And I would be so happy to see this, because if I could play Cuphead on my Nintendo Switch, because there's some games that just work so well with a portable platform. And Cuphead is one of them. Ori, like I loved Ori and Ori and the Blind Forest, and I will buy that on the Nintendo Switch. And if this is the case, then the new Ori will be on the Nintendo Switch. So, like, I know it's gonna be a streaming service, because obviously you can't put your Xbox games into it. So I'm definitely excited to see this. I'm hoping they're saying there's a big announcement maybe next month. So I think the cat's been out of the bag now, so I don't think they're going to keep it in there too long without telling people like their big ideas. So I'm looking forward to the big announcement, and fingers crossed, let's see Xbox Live or Xbox Game Pass on the Nintendo Switch. And Tyler, I want to ask you, is this going to make you go and find your Nintendo Switch? Like, is this something that appeals to you, or is this something that not really a big deal to you?
All right, well, I'll go here
you,
for Tyler. Yeah, I just...
He's looking for his Nintendo Switch right now.
Yeah, apparently. Got him excited. Yeah. I think that this is awesome for Nintendo fans who don't have an Xbox, but like maybe want to play, Xbox exclusives, assuming the entire library comes, which is highly possible. I don't care. Like, I don't need to play it on my Switch, but I can play a lot of things in 4K. on my TV. Like I don't ever use my Switch portable, so that'd be the only reason, and I don't ever do that, so I never need to. And the Switch games are better anyway, so in a lot of ways, so I don't know. I think this is awesome for Nintendo fans that want to play some Xbox games without buying an Xbox. I'm curious as to the reasoning behind it, and I think it hints at some other things, if it's true. But I guess only time will tell.
What
Tyler,
thing?
Yeah.
yeah.
Or you
Would you
don't
like to
speculate?
answer Graham's question now? Is this going to make you pull your Switch out?
Yes. It very well might. And there's a lot of games that are on Game Pass that I think would play perfectly on the Switch. And I think that would be really good. I think the implications for this, though, are huge for Microsoft in the sense that you get more people engaged with the Microsoft service, with Xbox in general, with Game Pass, and, it's still $10 a month, right? And that's bringing in extra revenue to them. So it's big for them. And I think, Steven, like you said, I think it's huge that, they're working together more and more, and I do think it signals that there might be more coming in the future from these two with this sort of partnership that we're starting to see. So, all right, anything else, guys, on that?
No, it's just I'm looking forward to it, and this would be huge, and this would be a big hit to PlayStation. How having pretty much two teaming up against the other one, but I would say it's PlayStation's own fault because Nintendo has been trying to reach out. They tried to do cross-platform or cross-play, and PlayStation is like, nope, we're not going to do it. So now Xbox and Nintendo, I don't know. It's exciting times. It's always nice to see when other companies get together and are friendly with each other and just what ideas they'll come up with. And like I said, Nintendo's got the portable system now, so if Xbox can partner with them and okay, so we kind of have a portable system, that's kind of a upper hand. So definitely curious to see what's announced for sure.
I just get the funny feeling that this is a measuring stick for something bigger.
Yeah. I'm excited.
So we'll see. I don't know. But all right. That's going to do it for news this week, everybody. Let's go into releases.
Now,
where we'll start with Xbox. You can get Dirt Rally 2 on the 26th, Trials Rising also on the 26th, and the Lego Movie 2 video game, all three on the 26th of February. Games of Gold, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon through the 28th, Super Bomberman R through the 15th of March, and Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, which I downloaded, I haven't played yet, through the 28th, through backwards compatibility. So, Steven, what can we get for PlayStation?
You can get Trials Rising as well on PlayStation on the 26th. You can get Stellaris Console Edition on the 26th. And then on the 1st, you can get Dead or Alive 6. Just a reminder, this is last month for both the Vita and PS3 games coming to PS Plus. But for right now, you can get For Honor and Hitman Season 1. And then you can also get Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots, but that's only for PlayStation 3. So if you have your PS3 and you don't have that game, but you always wanted it, well, you can. For free if you have PS Plus. Graham, Nintendo.
Okay, so for Nintendo, let me make sure I got my right weeks here. You can get Daggerhood on the 22nd. Also, you could get Fractured Minds. That would be coming out on 26th. And one that I had on the Xbox, seeing we were talking about kind of a merger, is Child of Light Ultimate Edition. It's / Valiant Arts, so it's a double pack. So it's a good deal when you get that. And that will be available on the 26th. And that's my Nintendo Switch releases.
All right, Steven, what do we have for questions this week?
All right, first question
Man.
from Rumham. Who is your favorite movie director?
I'll go first here. Mine is Tarantino, easily. And I like some others quite a bit as well, but there isn't a Quentin Tarantino movie that I don't love. So that is definitely my number one. How about you guys?
Steven?
Christopher Nolan. I like Christopher Nolan movies, but I do like Tarantino as well. So it's really tough to choose between those two. Though there's a reasonable chance that Peter Jackson is up there. I have liked most of the stuff he's directed, so there you go. But I think I'm gonna choose Nolan just to be different. Graham, what about you?
Okay, well, I'm not going to be different. I'm going to go with Tyler and say Quentin Tarantino.
Really? That surprises me, Graham.
You know, he makes amazing movies, and I like his the camera work he does and stuff like that. There is a lot of his movies that I haven't seen, which is a shame, but I've heard nothing but great things of the ones I haven't seen. So, yeah, that's my choice.
So do you have a favorite?
Favorite
Mine,
movie?
I mean, Kill Bills are like, a lot of people say those. Mine, though, I absolutely love Hateful Eight and Inglourious Basterds. I love both of them, but I love all of them. Really.
Yes. I was going to say the Kill Bill ones because I'm a huge fan of martial arts and stuff like that, and like katanas and sword fighting and stuff like that. So, I really enjoyed those movies.
And I love how the first movie is so different from the second one in terms of like even genre and tone. Like the second one has some like even like some Western elements to it, while still having that, samurai sort of element. But yeah, they're so good. I have the Tarantino collection. I need to watch them again. All right, Steven, sorry. We're not going to have a movie discussion here.
All right, Mr. Jonas Blaine, what do you think about updated consoles within a generation, i.e. the Pro, Slim, X, or S? Are they a money grab, a welcome progression, or other thoughts?
I think it depends. I mean, I've seen, I think whenever they come out with like the quote slim console or something like that, that's probably a money grab.
Mm-hmm.
But like the One X, there was a purpose for that, and it, was a very different console. It was a definite upgrade. So I think it depends.
Yeah. I don't think they're ever really money grabs. Even the Slims, I mean, I think those are more designed for people that don't have it. And they always come in cheaper than the original system, or they most of the time. I mean, because even the 360 had it. Like the 360 Elite really wasn't that different than the 360.
Well, in last gen too, we saw a lot of important innovations that came with the newer editions, like remorse and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you didn't need to pay $100 to have the little thing to. Yeah, I remember that thing very well. Xbox, shame. But yeah, I don't think the X or S or even the Pro, like those were just 4K updates and just to improve on the thing and most of the time they do trade-in deals at I know GameStop had it for the PS4 around the time because I traded in my PS4 to get the Pro. And I probably only paid $120 after all was said and done for the Pro. So I don't know. I don't think they're not super slimy about cash grabs with those. Not like a question we have next.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they don't make a lot of money off consoles anyway.
Yeah,
so Graham, go ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're a money grab as well. I think they put them out there just so they're still active in the market and not basically still feeding the market some systems. And like Steven said, when the Slim comes and stuff like that, some people might not have bought the other one because it was too expensive or something like that. So then they released a trimmed down version and it's cheaper and stuff like that. And it's cheaper to make obviously because the technology has been out for a while. And like I said, when you go from the S to the X, which is true 4K and stuff like that, I don't see that as a money grab as well. So it's kind of gives more options to people and stuff like that. And if someone was a collector and they bought every system as they come out, well then they might think, okay, they're just trying to get my money, right? Because they're thinking of themselves. But no, they're releasing it just to keep the market active, and they're just coming out with better stuff, and they want people to enjoy it and stick with their brand.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, Steven, what's up?
All right, next question. Ruby V says, why don't game prices go up with inflation? What do companies do to make up for rising costs? And that's kind of what I was referring to, and in my answer, and that's they put microtransactions in the game.
Yep.
And some companies do it much better, so it's less obvious, and it's not just literally stealing your wallet out of your pocket, right? And I mean, I'm guilty of spending money on microtransactions, especially in certain games, and we're gonna forget that happened. And
Do
it's
they
never,
rhyme with Madden?
It's never gonna happen again. But yes, I'm done with EA's.
It rhymes with
games.
sadden.
But yes, that is correct. But that's what they do because they make a lot of money on microtransactions. They don't need to raise the cost of the.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's nothing new because they originally started with, remember the days, the premium pass for every game.
Oh, yes. I remember that.
And I think somewhere along the line in the last few years, these companies realize it's a lot easier to get $2, $5, $10 out of people than it is to get 50.
Yep, and
in one shot.
And you can get
except for me and Steven with Madden.
You can get those
it's really easy to get 50.
You can get those $2 to $5 things like right away, like day one.
Yep.
Whereas a lot of people don't necessarily know, like, buy the premium pass right away because, at least not for most games. Like, Call of Duty always was successful about it because people, yeah.
I remember there's a game, I think it was Batman Arkham Knight, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to that, though, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was, where they were advertising and selling the premium pass for the game, but they wouldn't even tell you what it included because they didn't know.
Yes, I remember that.
That sounds right.
So, yep. And, you know, now, like I said, I think they realize it's much easier to get 2 or 5 or 10 out of somebody than it is to get 50 or more. And, you know, what Call of Duty still does, the premium, right? The season pass for $50 or whatever it is. But Battlefield's gone away from it. Halo's gone away from it. A lot of big shooters have gone away from that. And now it's about the microtransactions. Because Halo still has, for their Warzone mode, in Halo 5, the little packs you could buy.
The rec packs.
Right? Yep.
And announcer packs, too, so you could...
Yep. So that's there, and I bet in the long run they make a lot more off of that than they do off of the Season Pass, Premium Pass model. But on the flip side, before I go to Graham here, like, I think that, you know, if they raise the price of games to $70 US instead of 60, I think there would almost be a revolt. Like, people would just be like, you know, they wouldn't accept that. So microtransactions are the way that they handle the rising costs of making a game.
Yes. And I would say DLC as well. Like, it basically, they choose how much they want to sell the DLC for. Sometimes it's like $5 and then sometimes like 30 or whatever, right? So it does range. So I think like they'll raise the price on some of the DLC to make up for some of the costs, depending on how much the game costs. That's my guess, because why not, right? If you're putting out something else to make more money, then if you add $5 more on it, if everyone who buys it for $5 more, well, then you're just upping your profit. So microtransactions and DLCs and stuff like that definitely make up for the price of the game.
Yep, absolutely. All right, what do we have next? We got time for a couple more.
All right. So Riley Clark asked, are remakes just a cash grab or a tribute to the original for many games?
I think that all depends on whether or not you like the game. Like, if you love it and it was a meaningful franchise to you back in the day, like BioShock for me, that's a tribute to BioShock, right? But when, like, Saints Row 4 got a remaster, 2 years after it came out the first time? Or 3? Then I was like, this is a cash grab. You know? But the thing is, I wasn't real into Saints Row, but I love BioShock.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it all depends on the individual and whether or not you love the series that we're talking about.
Graham?
Wait. Me, like Tyler pretty much said, it depends on the game. Sometimes you'll see a game being released and you're like, okay, they're just trying to make more money and stuff like that. But other times, like, remakes are, like, it's just what people wanted. People have been fans of this game or franchise for a long time, so they're like, we're going to remake this, and we're going to, like, release it on this system that it wasn't on before. So, and I love seeing that, too, because there's some great games out there that I never got a chance to play, and then when they, like, do a remake of it, then it gives me a chance and other people. So I don't think it's always a cash grab, but sometimes it is. Steven?
I think that it can... I think it's a tie between almost never being a cash grab, or being a cash grab, but also because people want it. Like, obviously, they're not going to remake a game that no one wants, so yeah, they're remaking it or remastering it, I guess, for the cash grab. And I guess I was thinking remakes. So BioShock was never remade, Tyler. You're thinking of remaster,
Right? Remaster, sure.
Yeah. So I would love. Well, like Kingdom Hearts, right? They had great remaster, and I wanted to play them and update. Actually, they've had it twice on PS3 and then the PS4, and I'm fine with it because I want to play them in HD, and I love playing them on the new system, and I don't really ever keep my old systems, so it's great that I can play them, right? And so I guess if for remasters, I don't know, but for remakes, if you're strictly talking remakes, I think it's more of a tribute or just because they want to change the series up, right? Mm-hmm. Like even God of War could be considered a remake. They kind of just changed the direction of the series and like shifted, and they threw enough back to where there's a lot of stuff that like people are like, okay, it's not really a remake because there's throwback stuff, but like games like that, I mean, it's both a tribute and because sometimes just games need to move on and go in a new direction. Right, and like I assume if BioShock is ever remade, it'll stay true to the like original in a lot of ways, but also be its own thing, and I think that's perfectly fine.
Oh, I agree, but I still think we're gonna get a ton of remasters,
and I have no issue
in
with that.
2021 and 2022.
Give me Kingdom Hearts, the entire series remastered, and I'll buy it on PS5 or Xbox 2 if that ever actually does come to the Xbox. Besides Kingdom Hearts 3, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right, but if you see Crackdown 3 remastered, you're going to have a fit.
Well, I'll be like, who's it for? Because legit,
exactly.
and then it'll actually hold sway, because who would want to replay that game?
There's people that love it.
Well, those people...
There's people in our community that love
it. Okay.
All right, let's do one more.
All right, two more, because these combine together. Casey asks, Pop-Tarts or toaster strudels?
Toaster strudels.
Oh.
I'm going to go with toaster strudels. First, I had Pop-Tarts growing up, and then the toaster strudels either came out or became something that I saw and I tried. When you got the little icing stuff you put on there, delicious stuff.
Mm-hmm. Sure, but you're always afraid you're going to run out of icing in the first two, so you
No, you gotta be smart with it. Yeah, you gotta be smart
it's stupid. Toast strudels were not that good to begin with anyways. Pop-Tarts, they're easy. There's like a billion flavors, and some of them are very good, and some of them are not so good. But the chocolate peanut butter Pop-Tart was one of the best Pop-Tarts of all time.
Agreed on that.
Actually, and much better than toaster strudel. But I'd rather have a strawberry Pop-Tart than a strawberry.
But nobody said Pop-Tarts were bad.
Well, I'm saying Pop-Tarts are better.
Okay.
And anyone who says otherwise is wrong. And you know what? I eat those with a fork too, so.
you eat your Pop-Tarts with a fork.
Finally, Boss Man Booth, French toast or waffles?
Man, that's a tough one. I'm going to go French toast on that.
That's the correct answer.
I'm going to say...
if it's made right. I love both. I love breakfast food, period. But I'll go French toast on that.
I'm going to say that's a waffly hard question. Yes, I said it. French toast for me, for sure. I love French toast. French toast is the best.
How are you going to make a waffle pun and not choose waffles, Graham?
I know.
Yeah, that's very waffle of me. Oh.
Shut up. But French toast, okay? What are your thoughts on pancakes? I'm going to ask a question here.
I love pancakes.
So better than French toast?
Yes.
Not just plain
if they're made right.
What type of pancakes? So plain or
chocolate
like
chip.
Super buttermilk, like fluffy pancakes, or like
buttermilk fluffy pancakes?
Yeah. So just plain French toast against plain pancakes.
Oh, plain
pancakes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
French toast.
Pancakes for me.
I think French toast. I really love the bread, but I do love pancakes, and I really can't choose. I would take either of them over waffles any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
And it does depend, because it's much easier, I think, to screw up pancakes than it is to screw up waffles. Like, pancakes can come out super dry.
Yeah.
And just crumble,
But waffle maker tells you when it's done.
Yeah.
Throw a little bit of peanut butter on there.
I mean, at like
syrup,
restaurants,
and that's
though,
like a
you know.
damn dessert. Oh, so good.
So.
There we go.
All right.
We can talk about breakfast foods one episode. There we go. That's a topic for
Breakfast. Best meal
All
of the day.
Well, that's all the time we have for questions, everybody. Thank you to everybody who sent them in. But before we get out of here today, we do have one more announcement to make, and I'm going to turn it over to Steven to announce our Patreon winner for the month of February.
All right, congratulations to Brad Elliott. You are the winner of $60 in gift cards for the console or PC of your choosing. So we will reach out to you, so you don't have to do any work with Patreon giveaways, unlike the regular monthly giveaways. So congratulations, and we'll reach out to you, and you can tell us what system you would like it on. And yeah, so congrats. Thank you for being a patron.
Yeah, congratulations, Brad. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it, and we're happy to be able to do these giveaways every single month, and the only reason we're able to do them is because you provide that support. So, all right. We'd love to have you join our community, and you can do that by going to Facebook, the Gaming Hub forums, or to Twitch, TXH Gaming Hub, and hit that follow button. From either place, you'll see a link to our Discord. Join that to take part in all the conversation with our community. If you'd like to help support us, we'd really appreciate that as well. And you can go, like I said, TXH Gaming Hub on Twitch. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you get a free Twitch Prime sub to use every single month. And if you choose to spend that on us, we'd really appreciate it. It helps us grow, achieve our goals, do cool giveaways like the one we just did, and provide better content for you. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/gaminghub. And for as little as $2 a month there, you get exclusive content, lots of good stuff. For as little as $5 a month, you're entered into the monthly giveaway just for patrons that we just did just now, for $60 in gift cards to the console of your choice. So we'd really appreciate it if you check that out. Again, patreon.com/gaminghub. All right. That does it for episode 148. And we'll be back next week, 149. We're closing at 150, guys. That's pretty cool. So, for Graham and Steven, I'm Tyler saying thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with 149. Until then, have a great week, everybody. And we will talk to you soon.
Take care and stay safe.
Bye, everybody.